How we doing, guys? Sam here at Anglers. Today we're going over some crabbing stuff. We're changing it up a little bit. Crabbing's starting to really heat up here, especially on the west side. It seems like it's a little bit earlier this year, all the way from the south all the way up here to the Magothy. It's been doing really well. And one of the most common questions we get about crabbing is, how do we use these? How do we use these little bait bags? All they are is a simple little mesh bag held together with a simple little stainless steel hog ring. And the idea for that is you can put a lot of baits in that just aren't going to hold up well. Say like a chicken neck is going to do just fine. You could tie that off to something and they're not going to chew it up or take it away from you. But there's baits like salt baits like LY, which is a fabulous crab bait. It just doesn't hold up too well as far as just putting it right onto a trot line or clipping that into something. But it does really well in the bags because the crabs can't quite tear it up quite as quickly. The most common thing you'll see is with razor clams, which is a phenomenal crab bait. Does really, really well, especially in cooler water. Once you push into the late summer months, it seems like you do really well on chicken necks as well as razor clams, but it's hard to beat a razor clam for crabbing. So how many do you put in a bag? That's probably the most common question. Well, it kind of depends on the season. Typically early season, I do less clams because there's not as many crabs and they're just not going to tear it up as bad. So I usually start out with something like that. That's just 3 clams. With this one here, if they're all this size, 3 clams all year long. But when you kind of have a few mixed in ones, you could throw another small one in there like that, and it'll do you fine. There's 2 ways you'll see people do it. One is just in like this. And that's typically how I do it. However, you don't have to rig them like that. You can flip them out like this, especially if you have a lot of clams, super good crabbing in the middle of the summer. You might want to do this. Or you could put it in there like that. Either way works just fine. I don't think the crabs really care or would know. So let's show how you would put it on there. Starting out with the hand line, your classic, right off the pier. Really, really simple. What I like to do is just create a simple slip knot, which I'll take this line and I'll make a loop like this. Then I will basically put the line back through as another loop like that. And I will kind of tighten that up. And all I got to do is slip that right over top of the mesh. And when I pull on both of these, it will cinch that down and around. And that's really all you need, but it doesn't hurt to come back around to the other side and just tie a little simple overhand knot. Crabs aren't going to be able to take that away from you. And just a great little bait. So moving over to a trot line, you would just pop open your bungee snoot if you were going to use a snoot. Slip it right over through there. Pull it tight. Now you do want to make sure these are secure when you're running a trot line because this, especially when you have a lot of clams and the bungee will stretch a lot, it'll fling all around. So you want to make sure you got to get it tight in there, but you don't have to do too much pressure. So the last way we will rig them up is, let me get some more clams here, is with a bait clip, which you'll see on most of your crab traps out there. Get a few clams in there. So all this has here is a little clip. And really you just need to close enough of that mesh to where the crabs aren't going to be able to get in there. Run it through a few times. Like that, and just close it up. There's no crabs going to be able to get in there for you. So there are 3 ways on your most common ways to crab on how to rig a bait bag. Thank you guys, and stop on by and good luck crabbing.